in life, kind of the realizations I've had, and some of the things that kind of allow me to come to these conclusions. First, I'll start with my testimony, and then I'll read this reflection. As I'm reading this reflection, I'm going to add my own commentary in order to make things a little bit more clear and just add a couple of thoughts. So, my story starts. I grew up in a Christian home. I grew up in the church. But like most people, most kids who grow up in the church, they kind of accept it because their parents accept it. I'm a big believer that people need to find things for themselves, or else they'll never understand and never know why they believe what they believe. As I went to high school, I had this wanting, as most people do, and this kind of longing to belong and adapt to the norm and fit in, and I kind of abandoned some of the things that I used to hold in terms of behaviors, and fell into a scene with drinking and partying and a little bit of recreational drug use from time to time. And I just found myself going into that mainstream kind of lifestyle in terms of just what culture promotes. The university, this fell into the university years as well. Just weekends, partying. Everything was superficial. Everything was about chasing women, chasing girls. Everything was focused on the carnal, focused on the temporary, focused on the wrong things, which was fun for a long time, until one day you wake up and you realize what an empty and shallow life that really is, that may feed temporary gratification. However, that sets up no long-term peace. It doesn't better you as a person, and it brings you farther from the truth and who you are. So what happened was three major things happened to me and kind of shook my world as I was living abroad. A few health things and a relational thing. And up until that point, I felt like I was invincible. I felt like nothing could hurt me. I felt like there was no consequences until this moment when you realize that you are human, you're delicate, and you definitely are not bulletproof. So I returned back to my home country, and I began going back to school, back to university. However, I found so much emptiness because I'd found my identity in that lifestyle and in those people, yet it wasn't fulfilling me anymore. And I got to the point where I wondered, is this all life has to offer? Is this it? If you watch any television show, any movie, any mainstream media, you know this is the life they promote. The cool people in the show are the ones that are hooking out with girls, are the ones that are drinking, partying. They're rewarded socially on the show. They're looked at in a certain light, and people try to emulate that, which is what I did. just started reaching out to God. I just started praying. And this was a gradual thing. And I'd go to church, but I didn't really get much out of it until one Sunday. I was sitting there, and a theme in my life has always been finding the one that God has for me. And I always thought once I met my wife, this person God had for me, I would be content. I would be happy. But I was sitting in church one Sunday when I felt God speak to my heart for the first time. It wasn't an audible voice, but it was the closest thing to it. It said, if you want to find the woman I have for you, you have to become the man that she would deserve. And ever since that, my life had changed. I just dedicated everything and changed. 2 years later, I wrote this blog post. And this blog post outlines the rationalization and thinking process that I've come to, and how I've come to these conclusions from a practical and spiritual standpoint. So here we go, 2 years later, introduction. It has been a long time since I wrote about my journey through faith, but I wanted to document my conclusions after roughly 2 years as a Christian. During the past 2 years, I've dedicated my time towards studying, internalizing, and attempting to deliberately live a life centered on Christ. Like everyone else, I still stumbled, fell short, and struggled during this time. However, these last 2 years have been without a doubt the most rewarding 2 years of my existence. I have learned many things and have come to many realizations through this journey. I hope to take these and share them with whoever may be interested. I wanted the purpose of this blog to be to outline some of these understandings that I have come to, as well as to outline the process by which I have come to them. I know that there are many people who are tired of hearing about these subjects, but I believe that this is a subject area which is vastly imperative to every element of life. I believe that the question of the existence of a creator is probably the single most necessary concept worth considering. If there ultimately is a God, there are significant implications that we must acknowledge. Consequently, it would affect every aspect of our existence. This is a question that has been present and has present and eternal consequences. It is also a question that pertains to and defines the question of truth, purpose, and meaning. This is not just another question. This is the question. Writing in retrospect. When I first became a Christian, I began to immerse myself in Christian apologetics. For those who may not know, apologetics is a word derived from the Greek language and essentially translates into speaking in defense of something. The word is more commonly referenced in association with religious ideas, and it has a very distinct religious connotation. During this period of my life, I spent the majority of my free time learning as much as I could about the scientific, philosophical, historical, and theological conceptions and arguments in relation to the Christian faith. I began exploring every argument for and against the existence of a divine creator, Christianity, the Bible, literal perceptions of the biblical events, etc. I watched and or read it all. I can also honestly say that I thoroughly examined and questioned all arguments that contradicted the Christian faith as well. And I realized several things. Firstly, the research I conducted and the conclusions I had made from studying theories, arguments, positions, and evidence were useful only as an initial starting point. They were not a road to decisive proof of anything. I soon began to was definitive. That was the case in each distinct field of research pertaining to Christianity, the existence of God, etc. After consuming vast amounts of information and studying the rationalities of many prominent individuals, I soon realized that it was all part of a continuous succession that never ceased, a succession that never would or could cease, no matter the argument, evidence presented, or opinions expressed by people of all postures and sides. There was always an opposing answer. There was always a refutation. There was always something else to be added. This was true of every field of study. It was also true that regardless of the stance, atheist, agnostic, or inclined to believe in God, I came away with this experience exhausted and frustrated at the never-ending sequence that cycled infinitely around and around and around. However, although frustrating, there were important things to take away from this. Faith in God and Christianity, for that matter, is not as blind as many people seem to believe or want to believe. There is a great misconception as to what Christianity actually is and intends to be. Finally, that I could not stay on the fence and wait until a consensus was met between the parties in order to determine my own beliefs. This will never and can never happen. How could I grow while remaining in limbo permanently? I could only gain context and perspective from these resources. I could not use them as the foremost resource to base my entire belief system. They would merely become and serve as part of my foundation. Secondly, consequently, I came to the realization that those who are waiting for the scientific community to confirm or deny the existence of God before taking a stance are limiting themselves and will be waiting forever. There is a common belief held that because of our advancement and access to knowledge, as well as the extensive capabilities and understandings that derive from our scientific research, that the notion of a creator has become somewhat irrelevant. However, it is essential to comprehend that science cannot and will not ever be able to answer this question. By definition, God is a source that transcends space and time. He is not a part of our physical reality and hence is not subject to any physical restrictions or measurements for that matter. Therefore, taking a position of waiting for physical evidence before believing will only hinder you in your search to find answers. If God is outside the physical realm, and science only measures the physical realm, it's just not possible to base it on this concept. Additionally, I think that the perception that a certain stance is predicating on intellect, or that it is the intellectual position, is simply misguided. I quickly learned that intellect is erroneous when it comes to this debate about the existence of God. There are just as many brilliant Christians as there are atheists, or Muslims, or agnostics, etc. Furthermore, each of these individuals are exposed to and have access to the same studies, discoveries, data, and evidence as the others. Yet many of these individuals arrive at different conclusions and worldviews. It was interesting to see that it isn't the atheists. Atheism often mislabeled as the intelligent view, or scholarly view, that can convincingly win these prestigious debates at universities, but the Christian apologists will often be credited with the decision. In fact, many of these scientists, philosophers, historians, etc., credit their research and study in their respective fields for bringing them to an acceptance and revelation of God as the sovereign source of existence. I really like what John Lennox says about this matter. I am paraphrasing, but essentially he says that his belief in God does not discourage change or hinder his understanding of the study of the universe. On the contrary, just like a better understanding of the elements and complexity that goes into creating art allows people to appreciate a painting more, his work in his respective field enables him to appreciate God more, not less. He goes further and presents an analogy regarding Henry Ford. I am paraphrasing again. However, I'm paraphrasing it. However, he states that simply because we know how a car operates does not dismiss the fact that Henry Ford was responsible for it. The quote is as follows. Take a Ford motor car. It is conceivable that someone from a remote part of the world who is seeing one for the first time and who knew nothing about modern engineering might imagine that there is a God, Mr. Ford, inside the engine making it go. He might further imagine that when the engine ran sweetly, it was because Mr. Ford was inside the engine and he liked him, and when it refused to go, it was because Mr. Ford did not like him. Of course, if he were subsequently to study engineering and take engine to pieces, he would discover there is no Mr. Ford inside of it. Neither would it take much intelligence to him, or for him to see that he would not need to introduce Mr. Ford as an explanation for its working. His grasp of the impersonal principles of internal combustion would be altogether enough to explain how the engine works. So far, so good. But if he then decided that his understanding of the principles of how the engine works made it impossible to believe in the existence of Mr. Ford, who designed the engine in the first place, this would be patently false. In philosophical terminology, he would be committing a category mistake. Had there never been a Mr. Ford to design the mechanisms, none would exist for him to understand. Scientific evaluation and evidence can point us in certain directions, but it cannot conclusively give us an answer to this question. Furthermore, I would argue that science is not at odds with religion. Many people are under the false assumption that science and religion are at war with one another. Additionally, that an individual is coerced into picking one side and relinquishing the other. However, this is a very misconstructed view. Science is not at odds with religion. They merely ask different questions. Regarding this idea, I would point to the rationale of Reverend John Polkinghorne. As for instance, Polkinghorne points to the Omi phenomenon of a tea kettle boiling merely on a stove. Science tells us that burning gas heats the water and makes the kettle boil, he says, but science doesn't explain the why question. The kettle is boiling because I want to make a cup of tea. Would you like some? I don't have to choose between the answers to those questions, declares Polkinghorne. In fact, in order to understand the mysterious event of the boiling kettle, I need both those kinds of answers to tell me what's going on. So I need the insights of science and the insights of religion if I'm going to understand the rich and many-layered world in which we live. Seeing the world from both the perspective of science and the perspective of religion is something Polkinghorne described as seeing the world with two eyes instead of one. He explains seeing the world with two eyes. Having binocular vision enables me to understand more than I could with either eye on its own. Furthermore, the notion of basing your ideology solely around scientific theory or hypothesis is limiting because they are prone to change. Scientific theory is is evident throughout our history. We find new information or are exposed to new evidence, and it causes previous theories to be labeled as irrelevant and non-applicable. This is not true for all, but it is definitely a prevalent concept. Therefore, an individual may completely base his beliefs on a theory that may be disproved tomorrow. This is why I believe that it's important to allow scientific understanding and evidence to serve as part of your ideology, but not a basis for all of it. Thirdly, I came to realize that an individual's set of beliefs is primarily premised on their worldview. I realize that for the most part, people consume information that either already supports what they believe or merely wish to believe. Changing a worldview is one of the most difficult and challenging actions for an individual to undertake. Usually results in drastic change of lifestyle that has numerous effects on relationships, conduct, and interactions. If someone wishes for there to be no God, they will find evidence to support that position. The same is true of someone who wishes to believe in a creator. I think it is essential for an individual to step back and ask themselves, why do I want there to be a God? Or why do I not want there to be a God? Another question to ponder would be to ask yourself, what would it take for me to either believe there is a God or to convince me there is no God? I say this because if an individual is truly cemented in their worldview, there is no occurrence whatsoever that would produce a change of heart or mind. There would be a justification or rationalization made to allow the original event to conform to the worldview previously kept. However, this ideology does not allow anyone to pursue truth. It allows individuals to pursue what suits them and their preferred perceptions. Even after some people accept God, they actually end up creating their own version of God that suits their desires instead of who God actually is. I believe that this all comes back to the notion of pride. Pride is probably the most debilitating issue facing our society today. There is a distinct defiance when it comes to humbling ourselves and objectively pursuing truth. One quote which I believe sums up this concept comes from C.S. Lewis in his book, The Abolition of Man. For the wise men of old, the cardinal problem of human life was how to conform the soul to objective reality, and the solution was wisdom, self-discipline, and virtue. For the modern mind, the cardinal problem is how to subdue reality to the wishes of man, and the solution is a technique. Fourthly, everyone is different, but a noteworthy element of my belief in Christianity is derived from miraculous spiritual and divine encounters and occurrences in our realities. As I mentioned previously, everyone is different. No one comes to Christ in exactly the same way. We're based on some very personal encounters and experiences ranging from myself, my family, and friends. I have fully concluded in the reality of the spiritual or supernatural. I do not wish to disclose the details of these occurrences, simply because I believe that attempting to put them into words here would almost cheapen or take away from them. Additionally, I also do not want to betray the trust of close friends or family members, but the reason behind referencing these events is because I know and trust these people. Because of this, I am prone to take them seriously. They are not mentally unstable, unreliable sources, and there is no agenda beyond revealing these things. They are respected and loved individuals in my life. In relation, it has been a very cool experience working overseas. I have had the opportunity to interact with a variety of missionaries, missionary families, and people dedicated to being God's hands all over the world. Simply hearing of the miraculous events that are transpiring all over the globe is amazing. I am not referencing the miracles in the sense of timely, strange, or beneficial coincidences, but of events that totally contradict physical boundaries, rules, and understandings. Furthermore, these miracles, healing, spiritual encounters, and experiences it's dismissive. I don't understand this person, therefore they're crazy. Another reason we often dismiss these spiritually oriented happenings is due to the fact that we cannot measure, retest, or physically verify the event like we're able to do when testing certain physical hypotheses. They are occurrences that fall outside the realm of what we can control or physically manipulate. However, over time, you will notice numerous similarities and solidarity within people's experiences. Oftentimes, we dismiss that which is either outside of our own perception and understanding of the world. We tend to offer opinions about subjects outside of our own bubble of comprehension without having tried to experience it ourselves. The conclusion of my conclusions. It is hard to imagine things that are outside the realm of our understanding. Everything is relative and built off of prior information. We can only comprehend the notion of smallness because we understand bigness. Similarly, imagine the first person that ever reported seeing a whale, rhino, or elephant. They would have been seen as insane until someone went out and decided to seek it out for themselves. I think that is ultimately what I have learned during the past 2 years. The truth is that in order to strive to answer these questions, I had to seek them for myself. This journey has required me to put aside my pride, humble myself, and seek God the way He asks us to, not the way I think is best. Ultimately, if God truly exists, then we need to seek Him the way He asks us, as opposed to seeking Him the way we feel is most appropriate. How can we answer the question otherwise? How can we simply dismiss God as simply a product of wishful thinking or false hope? Do we earnestly seek the way that He insists us or requires us to? Here's how the Bible asks us to seek. Deuteronomy 4:29. But from there you will seek the Lord your God, and you will find Him if you seek Him with all of your heart and with all your soul. Proverbs 8:17. I love those who love me, and those who seek diligently, they find me. Matthew 7:7-8. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives, and the one who seeks finds, and the one who knocks it will be opened. Lamentations 3:25. The Lord is good to those who wait for Him, to the soul who seeks Him. Jeremiah 29:13. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. To me, this speaks more of an attitude and demeanor in the way we search, as opposed to following a set of actions and instructions when searching. It seems to speak to a condition of the heart and the intention of the search. God reveals Himself to those who generally seek Him. I would strongly suggest that before dismissing this topic, try asking God with a sincere heart to reveal Himself to you. I believe that He will honor a heart that truly yearns for an answer. I would also implore you to not come to a consensus or conclusion about God based on the conduct of people. Do not let people, including Christians, determine how you see God. People are flawed. We are constantly missing the mark and do not do Jesus justice. God wants a relationship with us, not an established religion. Many of us seem to have become religious as opposed to Christ-like by replacing a relationship for a religion. I would define this religious attitude as focusing on traditions, rituals, and actions as opposing to seeking God with all your heart to become more Christ-like. The focus should be on allowing God to change our hearts and our attitudes. When Christians fail to do this, they separate themselves from God and eventually tend to exhibit judgmental, hypocritical behaviors that serve no purpose to inflate a person's ego and pride. During the time of Jesus, you will notice that He did not die or condemn anyone except for the religious elite who were representing God to the people falsely. He did not condemn those immersed in sin. He showed them mercy and forgiveness in a way to be crazy to some, but everything outside our realm of understanding seems crazy to us.